Let me say something that most people don't realize until it's already too late. Most people don't fail when they're young. They don't fail at 18, they don't fail at 22, they don't even fail at 25. They fail after 30. And what makes this scary is that failure after 30 doesn't look like failure at all. It looks like stability. It looks like routine. It looks like being settled. But inside, something is slowly dying. Before we go any further, if you want to break the patterns that keep most people average, stuck, and regretful, subscribe to Millionaire Mindset Path. This channel is not about hype. It's about understanding the mental shifts that separate people who rise in life from those who slowly fade. Now listen carefully. Up to your 20s, life gives you grace. You can experiment, you can make mistakes, you can start over without explanation. Failure is forgiven. But after 30, life stops forgiving ignorance. Time becomes expensive, energy becomes precious, mistakes cost more. And this is where most people collapse. Not suddenly, not dramatically, quietly. They wake up one day and realize they are busy, but not moving. They are working, but not progressing. They are tired, but not fulfilled. The first reason most people fail after 30 is because they stop learning. In their early years, learning is automatic. New jobs, new skills, new environments. But after 30, many people believe they already know enough. They start repeating old information in a new world, and that is dangerous. The world does not stop evolving just because you stopped upgrading. Skills expire, industries change, opportunities shift, but their mindset freezes. They rely on what worked before instead of preparing for what's coming next. And outdated thinking always produces outdated results. Failure after 30 is not loud, it's silent. It's staying in the same position for years and calling it loyalty. It's blaming the economy while refusing to learn a new skill. It's saying, "I don't have time," when the real issue is they stopped making growth a priority. Another reason people fail after 30 is comfort. Comfort becomes addictive. A predictable routine, a familiar struggle, a safe income. Comfort feels responsible, but comfort is expensive. Comfort steals ambition. Comfort kills curiosity. Comfort slowly erodes potential. In your 20s, you chase experiences. After 30, most people chase safety, and safety creates stagnation. They confuse stability with success, but stability without growth is not success. It is slow decline. Another dangerous shift happens after 30. People stop dreaming forward and start remembering backward. They talk more about what they used to want than what they are building now. They say things like, "I missed my chance. It's too late now. I should have started earlier." That thinking is poison, because the moment you believe your best days are behind you, your actions shrink to match that belief. People who fail after 30 stop expecting greatness from themselves. They lower standards, they negotiate with discipline, they justify mediocrity. They say, "This is just how life is." But life does not force stagnation. Mindset does. Another reason people fail after 30 is responsibility without growth. Responsibilities increase, but skills don't. Bills increase, but income doesn't. Pressure rises, but capacity stays the same. That gap creates stress. Instead of upgrading themselves to match new responsibilities, most people shrink their dreams to reduce discomfort. And that's how failure begins. Not with laziness, not with stupidity, but with settling. Failure after 30 looks like doing the same things every year and expecting different results. It looks like waiting for motivation instead of building discipline. It looks like blaming time instead of managing energy. It looks like surviving instead of designing a future. Here is the most painful truth. Most people don't fail because they can't win. They fail because they stop believing they should. They accept average. They accept struggle. They accept limits that were never real. But there is another path. Some people rise after 30. They get sharper. They get more disciplined. They get more intentional. They understand that 30 is not an ending. It's a checkpoint. A moment to decide whether life will happen to them or be designed by them.
After 30, fear changes its shape. In your 20s, fear sounds like doubt. After 30, fear sounds like responsibility. It sounds reasonable. It sounds mature. It sounds logical. And that's why it's so dangerous. People start saying things like, I can't take risks now. I have people depending on me. I need to be realistic. But here's the truth most people never face. Avoiding growth is far riskier than pursuing it. After 30, most people don't lose ambition. They lose hunger. Hunger gets replaced by comfort, and comfort slowly replaces courage. In your 20s, you chase opportunities. After 30, many people start protecting what they already have. They stop asking, what could I become? And start asking, how do I avoid losing what I have? That shift alone explains why so many people plateau after 30. Fear of loss is more powerful than desire for gain. People stop experimenting, they stop stretching, they stop putting themselves in rooms where they feel small. They choose familiarity over growth, but familiarity never creates progress. Another major reason people fail after 30 is that they confuse responsibility with playing small. Responsibility does not mean you stop growing. Responsibility means you must grow faster. Bills don't go down. Expectations don't disappear. Time doesn't slow down. So shrinking your ambition does not reduce pressure, it increases it. Because when income stays the same and responsibility grows, stress becomes constant. Most people respond to this stress by lowering expectations of themselves. They say things like, this is just life. This is how it is now. That thinking is surrender, and surrender always comes before failure. Another silent killer after 30 is identity attachment. People become emotionally attached to who they used to be. My degree is in this. I've always done this kind of work. This is my field. But the market does not care about identity. It rewards relevance. When you refuse to update your identity, you make your income fragile. Successful people after 30 are willing to reinvent themselves. They're willing to be beginners again. They are willing to learn from younger minds. They are willing to admit they don't know. People who fail after 30 protect their ego more than their future. They would rather look experienced than be effective. Another dangerous belief after 30 is the myth of perfect timing. People think, I'll start when things settle down. But life never settles down. There will always be responsibilities. There will always be obligations. There will always be reasons to wait. Successful people understand that progress must happen during pressure, not after it. They build skills while tired. They learn while busy. They grow while carrying weight. That's why they rise. People who fail after 30 wait for life to get easier. It doesn't. Another reason people fail is comparison. After 30, comparison becomes painful. People compare salaries, they compare lifestyles, they compare milestones. Instead of using comparison as feedback, they use it as a reason to quit mentally. They say things like, it's too late for me, they're already ahead. But success is not a race, it's a direction. The only real failure is moving in the wrong direction consistently. People who succeed after 30 stop comparing timelines and start measuring trajectory. They ask, am I improving? Am I learning? Am I becoming more capable than last year? That question keeps them alive. Another reason people fail after 30 is lack of skill investment. They expect income to grow without upgrading ability. That never works. Income is a reward for value. Value comes from skill. People who win after 30 treat learning like oxygen. They read, they study, they practice, not casually, intentionally. People who fail after 30 treat learning as optional. They say they are too busy. But being too busy to learn is the fastest way to become irrelevant. The world rewards adaptability. People who adapt rise. People who resist change fall behind. Failure after 30 is not about age, it's about rigidity. Rigid thinking, rigid identity, rigid habits. Flexible people survive change. Rigid people break under it.
After 30, motivation stops working. This is one of the most painful realizations for people. In your 20s, motivation carries you. You feel excited easily. You feel inspired quickly. Energy comes naturally. But after 30, life gets heavier. Responsibilities multiply. Pressure increases. Time fragments. And motivation becomes unreliable. People who fail after 30 keep waiting to feel like it. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel motivated. That wait never ends, because motivation is an emotion, and emotions are unstable. Successful people after 30 do not rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And here is the truth most people miss. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is protection. It protects your future from your moods. Most people lose discipline after 30 because they underestimate routine. They think routine is boring. They think structure kills freedom. But structure creates freedom. When you don't decide in advance how your day will run, life decides for you. And life does not prioritize your growth. People who fail after 30 live reactively. They wake up responding to messages. They react to problems. They respond to emergencies. By the end of the day, they are exhausted, but they didn't move closer to their goals. Successful people design non-negotiables, daily habits that happen whether they feel good or not. Reading, learning, training the mind, working on long-term goals. Not for hours, but consistently. Consistency beats intensity. Most people think success comes from big moves. It rarely does. It comes from small actions done repeatedly over time. Another reason people fail after 30 is loss of focus. After 30, distractions increase. Family needs, social obligations, digital noise, financial stress. People start multitasking. They try to do everything and end up doing nothing well. Focus becomes diluted, and where focus goes, results follow. People who fail spread their attention thin. People who succeed protect focus aggressively. They learn to say no. No to unnecessary commitments. No to constant entertainment. No to people who drain energy. This is not selfishness. This is strategy. You cannot build a strong future with scattered attention. Another silent discipline killer after 30 is exhaustion. People underestimate the role of health. They sleep less. They eat poorly. They stop exercising. They try to push through fatigue. But a tired mind cannot think clearly. A tired body cannot stay disciplined. Successful people after 30 take health seriously. Not for appearance, for performance. Energy is currency. You cannot execute big plans with low energy. People who fail after 30 ignore this until burnout forces them to stop. Another discipline collapse happens through excuse creation. People become very good at explaining why they can't. I'm too busy. I have too much going on. I'll do it later. Later becomes never. Successful people do not eliminate obstacles. They work around them. They wake up earlier. They reduce distractions. They simplify life. They don't negotiate with discipline. They build identity around it. They don't say, I'm trying to be disciplined. They say, I am disciplined. Identity drives behavior. People who fail after 30 see discipline as something they do. People who succeed see discipline as who they are. Another reason discipline collapses is lack of long-term vision. Without a clear future, daily effort feels pointless. People ask, why am I even doing this? Successful people know what they are building. They have a direction. They might not know every detail, but they know the destination. That vision pulls them forward on days motivation disappears. People who fail after 30 live day to day. People who succeed live decade to decade. They understand that progress is slow, but quitting is permanent. Discipline also requires boundaries. After 30, many people let everyone access their time. Family, friends, work, social expectations. They never protect personal growth time. Successful people create boundaries. They schedule thinking time. They schedule learning time. They schedule quiet time. Not because they have extra time, but because they make time. This is the difference. People who fail after 30 give their best energy to everyone else and leave nothing for themselves. Successful people invest in themselves first so they can give better later. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. After 30, life stops giving warnings. It starts giving results. By this age, patterns are no longer forming. They are revealing themselves. Habits show up as outcomes. Thinking shows up as lifestyle. Discipline, or the lack of it, shows up as direction. This is where the final separation happens. People who win after 30 become intentional. People who fail drift. Drifting feels harmless, but drifting is deadly. Because when you drift, you move wherever pressure pushes you. Work decides your schedule. Problems decide your mood. Other people decide your priorities. And slowly, your life stops being something you design and becomes something you endure. People who fail after 30 live reactively. They react to bills. They react to stress. They react to emergencies. They are always busy, but rarely building. Successful people after 30 shift into ownership thinking. Ownership is not about business. It is about responsibility for direction. They stop asking, what is happening to me? And start asking, what am I creating? That question alone changes behavior. Another reason most people fail after 30 is short-term thinking. They optimize for comfort, not for legacy. They choose what feels good now over what builds strength later. They trade long-term freedom for short-term relief. Comfort becomes the goal, but comfort is a trap. Comfort demands maintenance, and maintenance consumes energy without creating progress. Successful people after 30 become comfortable with discomfort. They understand growth has a cost, and they decide to pay it willingly instead of paying the cost of regret later. Another critical difference is standards. Most people lower standards as they age. They excuse habits they would never accept before. They tolerate environments that drain them. They accept behavior from themselves that would have once embarrassed them. They say things like, "This is just how life is." Successful people do the opposite. They raise standards. They demand more from themselves, not less. They protect sleep. They protect focus. They protect learning time. They stop negotiating with discipline. They stop lying to themselves. Because self-honesty is the foundation of growth. People who fail after 30 lie gently to themselves. People who succeed tell themselves the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Another separation happens in how people think about time. People who fail after 30 think in weeks and months. They ask, how do I get through this? People who succeed think in decades. They ask, who am I becoming? They design their life backwards. They decide what kind of person they want to be at 40, 50, 60. Then they align daily actions with that identity. Identity drives behavior. If you see yourself as tired, you act tired. If you see yourself as stuck, you behave stuck. Successful people upgrade identity. They don't say, "I'm trying to be disciplined." They say, "I am disciplined." They don't say, "I want to grow." They say, "I am a learner." Language shapes thinking. Thinking shapes action. Action shapes destiny. Another reason people fail after 30 is they stop believing they can change. They think personality is fixed. They think habits are permanent. They think it's too late. That belief alone guarantees failure. The truth is this: the brain remains adaptable, skills remain learnable, direction remains changeable. What changes is willingness. People who succeed after 30 decide they are not done. They decide they are not finished. They decide their best years are not behind them. They understand that many people peak early because they stop growing, and many people rise later because they finally become intentional. Another final difference is purpose. People who fail after 30 live to survive. People who succeed live to build. They build skills, they build systems, they build impact. They attach effort to meaning. Without meaning, discipline feels heavy. With meaning, discipline feels necessary. Successful people know why they wake up. They know what they are working toward. Even on hard days, direction keeps them moving. Failure after 30 is rarely dramatic. It looks like staying the same while time moves forward. Success after 30 is also quiet. It looks like consistency. It looks like restraint. It looks like focus. Over time, quiet discipline creates loud results. Here is the final truth. Most people do not fail after 30 because they lack opportunity. They fail because they stop choosing themselves. They stop choosing growth. They stop choosing discipline. They stop choosing discomfort. But failure is not inevitable. After 30, you either drift by default or you design by decision. There is no middle ground. This is what separates people who fade from people who rise. And this is the foundation of Millionaire Mindset Path. Not motivation for a moment, but thinking that compounds for life.